What's up? What's up, everyone? Happy Thursday. Who is who's at home? Who's at work? Where you at? Let me know where you're chiming in from. Who's on vacation? Dr. Tamika here. You know I go live every Thursday at 12:30, and I'm super excited to be here today, 12:30 PST that is. And it's just another beautiful Thursday. It's a little wind blowing, the sun is out. Are you drinking? What are you drinking right now? I'm drinking some lovely water. Happy to have you on board here. Those of you on Instagram, what's up, Keisha Mama? I am Jessica Pozo. What's up? And on Facebook, so happy to have you in the building or in your building, right? When you see me on Facebook, if you see the app StreamYard on board, if you could just go ahead and accept it, then I can see your comments as they come through so I can talk to you as well. So if you see StreamYard there on Facebook, go ahead and accept it and then I'll see you. Okay. So that's truly what I am interested in being able to respond to you as well as those over here on Instagram. I am excited to be here today because we are going on to part 2 of our talk. And today we're talking about mental health, right? The gut and hormone connection part 2. And I think this is important because mental health definitely is something that we need to spend more time on and really need to hone in on the emotions we're having, the feelings we're having, and what are some of the things we can do to truly impact this. And so if you're someone or you know someone who is struggling in this area, because many people are struggling in the area and dealing with challenges as it relates to anxiety, depression, wondering they just their mood seems to be off. They're not as up as they used to be. There's so much going on in the world. All of us are being impacted, and sometimes we just don't express it well. And that's something that I would encourage you to do so. But on today, I really want to talk about how there's a connection. So some of the things that you can do internally to actually help you as it relates to mental health. And yes, it deals with your gut. So we're going to have a recap of what I talked about last week. But again, I really want you to comment, chime in, ask some questions. Let me know what you're thinking about, what you're dealing with, because this is so very important for me to know so I can start to talk towards the topics that you want to talk about. If you have a comment, if you have an experience, by all means, share it because you just never know how your words may impact someone else. So we talked about how there is a gut-brain axis, right? So there's a connection, and we talked about neurons, and the neurons are basically they're central to this complex network that basically help with the communication, right? They facilitate communication between your brain and the rest of your body. So that's a neuron. Neurotransmitters, these are our feel-good hormones. You've heard me talk about sex hormones, but today we're going to review neurotransmitters, which are our body's chemical messages that are responsible for transmitting messages from neuron to neuron. So we have these neurotransmitters, dopamine, serotonin, GABA, glutamate. These are all neurotransmitters. So these are things you should be aware of. And when you think about depression, many people are familiar with serotonin because you've heard of perhaps SSRI, serotonin selective reuptake inhibitors, this type of medication. But here and today, my goal as a physician is to just educate you and give you tools so that if you know better, perhaps you'll do better with yourself. And knowing is not the same as doing. So I hope that something that I share today can impact you or impact someone you love to help them along this journey as we relate to our health. We talked about the enteric nervous system, which controls basically your body digestive systems, such as breathing and so forth. So let me rephrase that. The enteric nervous system controls basically your bodily functions like digestion and breathing. So when I talk to you about this, what's up, Bab? So happy to have you on board. Miss you. When I talk about this, it's so very important because when we talk about the enteric nervous system, I want you to understand that there's 2 parts of our autonomic nervous system. There's the parasympathetic and there is the sympathetic. And it's interesting. I just talked about this in my private Facebook group, and I really think it's important that I talk about it again today. So as we're starting to work on our bodies, there is the sympathetic side. So that's the fight or flight. So when you're working out, you're doing various things. The one that gets you up and going and running and moving and everything, that's the sympathetic. That's fight or flight. Parasympathetic is where we have rest and digest. We want to be more on the parasympathetic side when we're trying to really get in tune to ourselves, practice self-love, practice on calming things down and work on our bodies just being in control. That's the rest and digest. Because when these systems are out of whack, meaning you're more on one side or more on the other side, you can start to have this challenge, especially when psychologically you're impacted, like whether you're having symptoms of anxiety, depression, feeling off, or just feeling nervousness or angst. that can wreak havoc on your body, and it can manifest clinically, which in essence means that you can start to have challenges with, you may have loose stools, diarrhea, you may have constipation, you may have bloating, you may have headache, you may have an increased risk of just starting to get sick more frequently. Have you ever been around someone and you see like every time you talk to them, they're getting sick? Well, that's impact. It can be if they're going through a lot of stuff emotionally, that can manifest itself because the cortisol hormone is off. And so then you start to get challenges related to your health. So when I say there is truly a connection between our mental health and our gut, it's important that you recognize this and we start to do things that can actually truly help us. So we talked about that. And we talked about the microbiome. So your gut, right, is a microbiome mix of trillions of microbes that are bacteria, fungi, viruses. This is just a recap of what I talked about last week, because those of you who missed out, don't worry, I'm bringing you up to speed. And when I tell you this, it's so very important because when we think about what's going on in our bodies, if we think about the neurotransmitters, the dopamine, serotonin, GABA, glutamate, they all get impacted by what's going on in our gut. And it impacts your mood. So if there's truly a disconnect, you can start to see challenges as it relates to your overall health, right? So on today, I wanted to really emphasize on ways to optimize your gut health and actually take steps towards improving your mental health. And with that being said, one of the things that's very important is that what we have control over, like it's so hard when you're dealing with challenges. Sometimes we get so caught up in, what's going to happen the next day. And then we go all the way down to next week and then next month and next year. And this is going to impact us this way. I want you to understand you cannot control all these things going on. What you can control is what we eat. So what I wanted to focus on is what can we control? And one of the things we can control is what we eat. And studies have shown that the diversity of microbes offers the best protection, and your diet can play a role in creating this diversity. So having a well-balanced meal can help the microbiome and really help us overall. Unfortunately, the typical North American diet is what they call the SAD diet, which is the standard American diet, does not provide a lot of diversity. And so that can't help increase what we need in our microbiome. So to help foods that help increase the bacteria and really help us with our microbiome, let's talk about this. Omega fat acids. That aids in omega fats. Omega fats aid in gut health and cognitive function. So omega fats are like fish oil. That's the best way to put that. They're fish oil. So it's found in fatty fish, salmon, nuts, seeds, walnuts, chia seeds, some plant oils like flax seeds. All of this can truly help with your gut health and your cognitive function. So when we think about this, that's one thing. Another thing that can help increase the diversity in our gut, which is our microbiome, foods high in polyphenols, which include, wait for it, yes, chocolate, coffee, green tea. They can help enhance the growth of the beneficial bacteria that help inhibit the growth of pathogens. So when I talk about chocolate, like I would give a big shout out to HU chocolate. It's a very clean chocolate and it tastes very good. As it relates to coffee, I like coffee. I'm not a coffee drinker. Let me just put that disclaimer out there. So for my coffee drinkers, hear me out. I'm not a big coffee drinker, but what I can tell you is that one of the coffees that I have been giving my clients has been something called coffee called Organo. And it's organic. It has no mycotoxins. It has reishi mushrooms in it. And reishi mushrooms, if you know anything about that, I'm going to do a talk later on this month about reishi mushrooms and how it can be, well, mushrooms in general, and how they can be beneficial for your health. So when we think about helping create diversity in our microbiome, I want you to think about foods high in polyphenols. Next thing I want you to think about is fermented foods that contain high amounts of beneficial bacteria like lactobacilli, which can help contribute to our gut microbiome. Good sources of fermented foods include kefir, fresh fruits, some yogurts as well as kimchi, tempeh. They all help with the diversity of our microbiome, and that's helping us with our mental health. Now, I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say this with caution, but I'll say this as well. Whole grains can also be beneficial to increase bacteria. Also, there's some studies that have found the benefits only from gluten-free grains. So let me say that, gluten-free grains. The other thing I'd like for you to focus on is fiber. Do you realize you need about 30 milligrams of fiber in your diet? That's how getting things to move through. You don't want to be constipated. Your poo should be soft like toothpaste. And you should have a bowel movement at a minimum of once a day. But ideally, anywhere from 2 to 3 times a day would be great. So having a bowel movement can be facilitated by having fiber on board. So focus on fiber. Dietary fiber is metabolized by bacteria in your gut, which helps to stimulate bacteria growth. All right. Other things that can be helpful is probiotics. Probiotics, and basically they come in a form of a supplement, right? That also can increase the number of bacteria in your gut. The quality of your supplements are so very important. The key thing that I want to say right here about probiotics is this. If you've been taking a probiotic, I would recommend, if you are taking one, I would recommend that you take it at night, away from food. And then after about 3 to 4 months, I would switch the probiotic to something else, because our bodies are so divinely designed that they adapt. So like, okay, you've been taking this probiotic for the past 6 years. Or your body's like, well, I've been taking that forever, so I'm not really going to increase the bacterial content there. So hear me out. Consider taking it away from food. So perhaps at night before going to bed, and then switching it after about 3 to 4 months, switching to a different probiotic. The next point, as it relates to ways that we can optimize our gut health and take steps towards improving our health, is this: slow down, stay hydrated, and move your body. Now, if you're anything like me, I have a tendency sometimes to talk fast. Well, I also sometimes have a tendency to eat fast. So when we're talking about mental health and improving our gut health, one of the things I'd like us to do is do mindful eating, meaning slow down when you eat. Take a break from your day, which helps you to ease your stress and anxiety. So sit down, relax, and enjoy your meal. Help your body digest these healthy foods by chewing slowly and savoring the meals. And wow, this is great. And having a relaxing environment that promotes your body being able to absorb and digest the food much better. By chewing slower, you're breaking down the foods adequately before they start to reach your stomach. Obviously, I'm going to talk about water, right? Water, 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 water. Staying hydrated is so important for our bodily functions. And, you want to aim to get, I always tell people, you want to aim to get at least half your body weight. But if that's not the case, make your urine clear. If you're drinking enough to the point that your urine is clear, you're definitely in the right direction. All right. And drinking your water. And some of people, I'm just not a water drinker. So maybe you can add some, one of my clients called it the spa water. So she'll add some cut up lemon wedges, some mint, and a little bit of berries, and then drink on that throughout the day. So getting enough water on board is so very important. Staying hydrated, right? Consuming fruits and vegetables. Tons of fruits and vegetables are full of water. Eating those are very important for creating diversity within your gut, which is good for your mental health. And then obviously this, but I'm going to say it, but get moving. Get moving, exercise. If you don't like the word exercise, then use the 4-letter word, move, MOVE. This also aids in digestion and stimulates peristalsis, which is the action of the food moving throughout the digestive tract. This is important to your gut health and to your overall mental health. So get to eating slower, relax in the environment, drink plenty of water, and move. Get up and move. Regular exercise has been shown to help with mental health by reducing anxiety, depression, and negative moods, by improving self-esteem and cognitive function. This is what I'm talking about as it relates to when we talk about mental health, when we talk about improving it, we want to do things that we have control over. We have control over what we're eating. We have control over getting up and moving. We have control over drinking water. You have that power. The other thing that I mentioned last week, but I'm really going to hone in for this, stimulate your vagus nerve. There's research that has shown that the natural vagus nerve stimulation can help the function of what's going on throughout your body, right? So it can help slow down that fight or flight response that's on our sympathetic side. The vagus nerve can help stimulate the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. So if you want to have better rest and digest, let's work on stimulating that vagus nerve. Practice deep breathing. Slow down. Take a deep breath. There's something called box breathing, right? Box breathing is where you take a deep breath, you hold it for 4. So you inhale for 4, exhale for 4, and you hold it. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold. You create a box. You can do where you breathe in for 2, out for 2. When you're noticing you're getting worked up, there is power in the breath. There is so much power in it. So use it. You have control over that. And that helps stimulate the vagus nerve, which can help tune into our parasympathetic, which helps promote more rest and digest. What about this? I wonder if you've heard about this. Immerse your face in cold water. That may seem counterintuitive, but it can slow down your sympathetic system, right? That fight or flight response and tone your vagus nerve. I know you're like, oh my gosh, but that can help. Protecting your mental health is the best approach. I mean, when you look at it from an overall perspective, with a multifaceted approach, we can go take steps towards improving our overall mental health with our gut and hormone connection. So, as I say this to you, I really want you to understand that you can even do for your vagus nerve gargling. You can sing, you can hum. I know some of you may think that, I don't have the best voice, but you can hum. You can gargle. That helps stimulate the vagus nerve. Working on that vagus nerve is so important to helping us activate the parasympathetics, which is the rest and digest. So, as we think about our topic today, mental health, the gut and hormone connection part 2, there are things that you can do right now, today. Right now, from whether you haven't eaten anything yet, where you have done something, you haven't done anything, right now, today, you know that you can slow down and enjoy your next meal. You know that you can drink plenty of water to help flush the system. You know that you can put vegetables and fruit into your diet. You can get up and move. You know you can sing. You know you can hum. You know you can gargle. You can do that from right now. You can stop listening to me and go do one of these things that can help you promote more more activity towards promoting a healthier, emotionally stable, excited, happy, not downcast. You can do these things for yourself. And the other thing that I would want to bring up here is if you are having challenges with mental health, it's not uncommon for you to want to keep things to yourself. So I encourage you, speak with a therapist. I'm a big advocate of prayer, but prayer and therapy work as well. So I saw a t-shirt once that said Jesus and therapy. I loved it. But whatever floats your boat, do that because it helps you. As you help you and you become the best you can be in this moment, you help the people around you. And as you help yourself, that is the greatest gift you can give to yourself and to others, helping you. And one other thing that I would like to show you is one of the books I recently purchased for myself is called Self-Love. Now, I'm sorry for the men, I don't have your version of this just yet. It's called Self-Love, Workbook for Women, Release Self-Doubt, Build Self-Compassion, and Embrace Who You Are. It's by Megan Logan. And it's a book. It's a workbook. And I'm not a big workbook kind of person, but this has been pretty good. And I'm like, I've been doing it. So when I think about you and I see you, Terry, I see you, Babs, thank you for being here. I just want to encourage you, consider doing some things that's outside of your norm. Many of you know that I love going to the beach. So Monday and Tuesday, I was at the beach. I worked from the beach, actually. So I roller skated, but I'm doing things that I want to do things that help me be the best me. What are you choosing to do to help you be the best you? Not that you have to, right? But that you get to. So on today, I am encouraged to see those of you here on Facebook. I'm encouraged to see those of you here on Instagram. And I'm encouraged to those of you who will go back and share this with other individuals or who will invite them to the live with Dr. Tamika on Thursdays at 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. If I can do a little bit more for you, if you want to take a step further, I invite you to jump on an unlimited health strategy call with me. And let's see with my staff and I and see how we can be of service to you, because you are not alone in this. You just need to know which resources you have available to you. One of the examples I give my patients is this. All of the NBA, I just didn't say this, many of the NBA players and so forth, they all have a team, right? The team outside of their basketball team, they have their nutritionist, they have their massage therapist, they have their chef, they have their, driver, cook. I don't know what all the things they have. They have their teams. And granted, they may spend millions of dollars for that. I'm not asking you to do that. I'm just saying, who's on your team? You have your primary care doctor? Great. Do you have a therapist? Great. Do you have your functional medicine doctor that's going to take you outside of what the box of traditional medicine does? Great. Do you have someone else who can help you, direct you as it relates to food? If you have your team, you are the focus. So consider working towards getting the right team around you. So important for you to consider that. I am, let's see, you say you lost sound. Somebody called in. Let's see. Did it come back? Sorry, they said they lost sound here on Instagram. Let's see, can it come back? Well, I will do my best. Someone called in, but I'll do my best to keep going and saying this. Work on you. Not that you have to, but that you get to. Have an amazing Thursday. Next time, 12:30 Pacific Standard Time. See you soon. Have an amazing day. Invite a friend, like, and share. Let me know what you want to talk about next.